Alex. Glad you're joining us this morning, or perhaps you're viewing this video afterwards. If you are viewing, a lot of our views are actually on Sunday afternoon, which is totally legit. If you are tuning in this morning, bear in mind that at 11:30 we will have our annual meeting, which is basically our annual congregational meeting. Of course, it'll be online, so it'll be basically simply, instead of having our usual virtual coffee hour, we'll still basically have that. Please do bring coffee, but we'll have formally our Hillside annual meeting. So if you can make it, that'd be great. As usual, the link you should have received this morning. Let's begin our intentional time together this morning with our usual centering. Let's take some deep breaths. Let's arrive in this moment. In this unique place and time. Let's observe all that's going on around us and within us. Without judgment, without interpretation. And with each breath that we take in and that we breathe out, let us be aware that this moment is all there truly is. And let's be fully present with it. Let's sit with this phrase from Swedenborg. All things are full of God and take their portion from that fullness. All things are full of God and take their portion from that fullness. All things are full of God and take their portion from that fullness. Let's see if we can apply that same presence and focus as we listen and absorb the readings for this morning.
Psalm 17. Hear a just cause, O Lord, attend to my cry. Give ear to my prayer, which is not from deceitful lips. Let my vindication come from your presence. Let your eyes look on the things that are upright. You have tested my heart. You have visited me in the night. You have tried me and have found nothing. I have proposed that my mouth shall not transgress. Concerns the works of men by the words of your lips I have kept away from the paths of the destroyer. Uphold my steps in your path, that my footsteps may not slip. I have called upon you, for you will hear me, O God. Incline your ear to me and hear my speech. Show your marvelous loving kindness by your right hand, O you who save those who trust in you from those who rise up against them. Keep me as the apple of your eye.
This is stanza 21 of Stephen Mitchell's translation of the Tao Te Ching. The master keeps her mind always at one with the Tao. That is what gives her radiance. The Tao is ungraspable. How can her mind be at one with it? Because she doesn't cling to ideas. The Tao is dark and unfathomable. How can it make her radiant? Because she lets it. Since before time and space were, the Tao is. It is beyond is and is not. How do I know this is true? I look inside myself and see. Hey Alex, would you mind grabbing the gong real quick?
Sure. True Christianity, section 457. With all of us, God flows into our concepts of him and brings us true acknowledgement of him. He also flows into us and brings us his love for people. If we accept only the first inflow but not the second, we receive that inflow with our intellect but not our will. We keep the concepts of God that we have without arriving at an inward acknowledgement of God. Our state is then like a garden in winter. If we accept both types of inflow, however, we receive the inflow with our will and then our intellect. That is, with our whole mind. We then develop an inner acknowledgement of God that brings our concepts of God to life. Our state is then like a garden in spring. Loving kindness makes the connection because God loves every one of us but cannot benefit us directly. He can benefit us only indirectly through each other. For this reason, he inspires us with his love. Just as he inspires parents with love for their children. If we receive this love, we become connected to God, and we love our neighbor out of love for God. Then we have love for God inside our love for our neighbor.
So you may have noticed the candle we have up today. You probably can't quite make it up depending on your screen size. And this past week was the feast day of St. Martin. And I have these really fond memories associated with St. Martin because growing up in a culturally very Catholic part of Germany, there was this tradition of on St. Martin's Day, all the kids would make little lanterns and there'll be these parades. Sometimes there'll be processions rather. Sometimes there'll be even an actor on a horse. And the story, the most often associated story about St. Martin is he was a Roman soldier actually, who was stationed in what is now a part of France. And as he's riding along on his horsey, he sees a beggar on the side of the road and promptly decides to cut off part of his own cloak and clothe the beggar. And in fact, this kind of a nice, well, it's not serendipity because I brought it, but a nice illustration might be the fact that this particular candle comes from our little altar at the night ministry. So it has some extra good energies flowing through it, I hope. But again, just sitting with those two sets of imagery, the one being that procession, right when the year is getting darker and cooler, right? There's this really old tradition, probably predates Christianity, of people gathering with lights and having some kind of ritual. And the beautiful, well, once again, not quite serendipity that this is associated with St. Martin. Swedenborg most commonly describes love, the definition of love, as being desiring and finding joy in other people being blessed without a sense of reward, without a sense of compulsion. And so this beautiful kind of combination of the image of bringing light into the darkness. Each person has their own little lantern that they bring, and there's this nice communal act of bringing light into darkness and into the cold. And at the same time, meditating on that image, which of course is so rich, right? With that classical depiction of St. Martin wearing his armor, right? Up on the horse, high up on the horse, and having compassion on this person who's often depicted as bruised and naked and just, and again, that conscious act, that conscious decision to help, to bless, not for reward, but just for the sake of blessing. And there's this beautiful, again, legend associated with St. Martin that I kind of want to close my remarks with. There's a legend that right after this encounter, St. Martin had a dream in which he had an apparition of Jesus. And he sees Jesus, and Jesus is wearing the cloak that he had given to the beggar. And Jesus just kind of looks over and goes, "Oh yeah, that's the dude who gave me his cloak today." So with all of this beautiful imagery, let's just once again center ourselves in this moment. Take some deep breaths again. Maybe take a break from concepts and ideas. For a moment, forget what I just said, what the reading said. Let's simply be present. And as we are present in this moment, let us acknowledge the presence of God. And lift all that we bring into this new week and all that we will encounter in this new week before the Holy One. And let's just watch as the light encompasses all of that. Let us open ourselves up to the inflow of love and of truth, so that we can become vessels of the divine and love for the sake of love. So mote it be. Thank you very much. Hope you can join us at 11:30 for our annual meeting.